You're such an asshole.
I gotta first let you know you won your bet. Mariah,
Yeah.
Maria, yeah, she sent a picture. She's real. Did I send that to you or no?
You did, and I went
I
ahead and
did.
forwarded it to Mr. Texas, who again wants to do another stream again soon, and yeah, so he was pretty amused about that.
Right. Well, here she sent a picture for the audience. I won't show it, but she's got a finger and it says, I can't read her cursive. It's something like eat a bag of Dick's Glary or something like that. And so she's this nice, sweet young lady. I think she's majoring in accounting.
Oh, cool.
I am real. In regards to you, in regards to the live you did on Chad's channel with Mr. Texas, Chad won. I am in fact a real 20-year-old female. Started watching your channel at 17 years old. Found Chad through you. See, is that nice?
That's extremely nice.
Very nice to see.
And she I like how she has a penchant for funnier, older gentlemen like Mr. Texas.
She'll go far if she finds an older man. Like I'll tell you right now, if girls want to succeed in the financial category, find an older guy, because we got more money. We're gonna die. I never, we'll be out of here, your hair pretty soon, and then you got our estate. And,
yeah.
There you go.
How you feeling, by the way?
Oh, I feel horrible.
Same, dude. I have the root beer float, for those that don't know.
Get closer to your microphone. I can barely hear you.
Okay, how about
there now? You go. There you go. Does that have a stand you can raise to your mouth, or do you got to lean over?
I just have a holder. I got to get that fixed. Remember, I'm traveling most of the time, so.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, I'm sick. The tornado chasing kid gave me the illness, and it's I don't know, day 9 or 10.
Damn.
And the first whoa, now I got echo coming in. I got sound background noise coming in.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you earlier.
Oh.
How about now?
No, now it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, but the first 2 days were horrible. Like, I didn't get any sleep, and
same.
Headache and fever. And for the first time in my life, I got chills, like actually shaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was 72 degrees in the house. It wasn't cold in the house. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, thankfully, the only thing I didn't have was throwing up. I wasn't nauseous. So
it sounds like we had the exact same thing.
Probably. Maybe I got COVID. I don't know. I don't care. It's the cold.
What made it so you guys couldn't sleep? I was wondering, because I was just out. I could not stay awake.
I don't know if you get this, but whenever I have a virus, I know it's a virus, my brain tries to solve some kind of logic or math puzzle while I'm trying to sleep.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if your dreams are constantly repeating the same puzzle over and over and over again. And that is what keeps me up. Also that, you're feeling ill. That keeps me up. But that was only for 2 days. Otherwise, every day since, I've been getting anywhere between 9 on the low end to 11 on the high end hours of sleep.
See, I would have thought that would have cured you by now, getting that much sleep.
No, I think I'm just getting older, and my throat is already compromised with that allergic reaction I had many years ago. And now I just got a cough and some remnant weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was just a cough, I'd probably go out and do a couple things, but I'll go out and run one errand, and I'll be like, oh man, I gotta lie down or go back and sit. So it's like get food, maybe check the mail, then come back, but definitely not going to the cigar lounge and definitely not going to the gym. So it's
yeah, this is day 5 for me, and I've done nothing ever since I got this. So I'm going to try taking a walk a little bit later today. That's about all I got in me.
Yeah, no, it sucks. It sucks. And as much as I hate to admit that the candidate is right, she is right. There's no reason for you and me, because we're the type, Atham's the type too. We'd run off. Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like absolute crap, not physically sick crap, like morally crap, not going to the gym, not getting any exercise in, and there's nothing to do. And then I don't know if you've gotten to the stage yet now where it starts to mentally affect you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Where I'm just like, oh, this is what it's like to be in a nursing home. Like, absolutely not. I'll put a bullet in my head before this ever happens.
I'm not, ask the candidate, I'm not good where I can't move around, at least a little bit during a day. If I just have to sit there, I really struggle mentally. So this has
Yeah.
been tough.
Yeah. No, I went for a walk with Ivy, the dog of no real value. I take her for a loop around the neighborhood, and that was enough for me. That was enough. And yeah, she's right. There's no reason to push it because I don't want to relapse. But boy, I think it's going to be 2 weeks before I'm better.
You think I'm hoping in another week I'll be back to normal, but from what I hear, it just takes a while.
It just takes a bit. I'd like to blame everything on the tornado chasing kid. I like to blame my pain and misery on him. I take him into my Southern Command, not even mine, but I take him in. What does he do? He gets me sick.
Well, I'd like to blame this on United Airlines, but it's not their fault. So
no, it's that's it. But you got the actual no joke COVID, right?
yeah, like when it first happened, it knocked me on my tail, and so I tell the candidate, and she's like, "I think you have the flu." And so the next day, I'm feeling even worse, and I said, "Could this be, the root beer float or the coof or whatever?" She's like, "Well, do you have a test?" And I'm like, "I've got one laying around." And so I went ahead and did it, and it did. It came back positive.
Came positive. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. All right, you got a cold. Okay, good.
I have
for
a
you.
cold. Exactly.
I have a cold. So I don't care. It's just, it's like, hey, it feels like the flu. So, hey, but I got to give thanks to your candidate there. She, she prescribed me, she did some telemedicine.
Yes.
And, I strongly recommend for all of you out there, if you can make friends with a nurse practitioner, I strongly recommend you do. They're like having a cleric on your Dungeons and Dragons party. They're like really awesome to just have on your team. Like, what the hell were you? I could have used you like 30 years ago. This is great.
So the joke I tell my parents is that, it works out so perfectly because, she gets a little bit anxious about finances and budgeting and taxes and things like that. And so that's where I'm really helpful.
You're the guy there. Yeah, that's where you shine.
And I'm a hypochondriac, so that's where she can, shine.
You're not a hypochondriac.
No.
So anyway, so we got a question, and he wanted to know your thing. I'll read it here for you. In regards to the live you did with oh no, this is Maria. Sorry, that's Maria.
Okay.
That's the nice girl. Here, let me go over here. Dear Mr. Anti-Buy at 60,000 at 14% interest penis extender pickup truck. I want to get your opinion on whether or not I should get a second job and work the weekends or not. Personal info, 24 years old, studying a STEM field, grinding through. Oh, wait, no, this isn't it either. What the hell did it? Here we go. I'm sorry, Chad.
It's about DC, huh?
It's about DC. I'll bleep it. Hi, Aaron. How much for a video with you and Chad talking about why he hated DC so much? I watched the Escape Chicago video, and there was a point where he'd say he'd stay in Chicago rather than go back to DC or New York City. I took a job at DC about 18 months ago. I'm not one to make excuses, but being here has helped ruin my physical, mental, and financial relationship and social abilities, which I feel were all strong suits prior. In closing, I just love to hear what Chad has to say about this toxic hole in terms of dating, the traffic, the cost of living, the lack of things to do, etc. Basically, why he disliked it, and if you and him recommend exiting as soon as possible. I've made 0 friends since being here. I've gained 40 pounds. I take home less money here, working 50 hours a week than I did in a different town where I bartended 3 times a week, and my mental health has gone to hell. Thanks, Aaron.
Damn.
And then I'd love to tell you what he does for a living, but I can't. I already know my answer, but why did you hate DC? I mean, you've been there longer than he was, so why don't you give everyone for the audience the benefit of knowing not to go there?
Oh God. So a little bit of background. I graduated undergrad in Virginia, which was about 2 hours from Washington, DC. So my first jobs, as you guys have heard me talk about, were with the federal government, out of college. So you had to move to DC in order to do those jobs. So I lived there for 6 years between the ages of 23 and 29. So
you spent your 20s. I mean,
yes,
you spent it. Wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
I thought Minneapolis, that's horrible.
Honestly, horrible. DC is so bad. Like what I used to tell people was that DC has all of the bad things about living in a big city, like traffic, expensive real estate, bad women, status seekers and everything,
Crime.
with none of the benefits of like, what you would get from a good city. Like, normally there's culture, there's food, there's fun stuff. I felt like DC had almost none of that. And I'm not talking about, yeah, you can go to the Smithsonian, you can go to the national monuments. Yeah, that's a given.
Mm,
But I'm saying, like, let me start here.
mm.
Did you know that DC is only second or third to Manhattan and San Francisco in terms of cost of living? Did you know
I would
that?
have guessed that, yeah, especially after
Yeah.
the Obama years. He jacked up a ton of spending, and so that I remember the articles coming out how rents around the DC and Virginia area and Maryland had all been going up because Obama's spending binge. Yeah.
It's insane. And by the way, I was there during the Bush years.
Mm,
I was there from 2002 to 2008. So I left before it got really bad. It was already like horrible, but
mm.
cost of living is insane. Um, the thing is, DC itself is not very big. Like you look at it, it's just this little, whatever
It's a
shape that it,
diamond, right?
yeah, or
Yeah,
rectangle type, imperfect rectangle type
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And so uh, I lived in Virginia the entire time, but that just means I was across the bridge, from the Potomac. I was in Arlington. That's basically the same as living in DC.
Right.
So rents, if you work in DC like I did, you either live in Virginia or Maryland most of the time. I mean, some people lived in DC, but you get even less for your money when you
Mm.
live in the District of Columbia. So it was the high cost of living. And in his email, did he mention dating? Because that was what I was about to talk about
No,
next.
I was going to ask about that because, I've been there very briefly, but from what I've gotten ages in the Fed, Roosh is from that area too, and I think
Yeah.
there was a dating site even predating Roosh that he would talk about or read, and it seemed to be ground zero for boss babes, or
Yes.
boss bitches, where it's like I got my career and look out, here I come, and so I presume it's even more so today, or was back then.
I believe living in DC is what made Roosh into Roosh, actually.
I wouldn't doubt it. A hostile environment like that, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
And he was there. Roosh and I are kind of around the same age. He was there for the same time period I was, like having to deal with those women, the social climbers. Here's the problem with trying to date in DC. At least this is what I found when I was there. And I did have a girlfriend for 2 of those years, to be fair, but she didn't live in DC. So the problem with going out on dates with women in DC is that at least the ones I came across were absolutely obsessed with figuring out who you know.
Okay.
Did you know politicians? Eh, what's your circle? Who are you in with? Like that's what I kept noticing when I would talk to these women. I'd be like, "Oh, well, I work for the IRS." Really? Well, who do you know that's important essentially? And I'm like, "Well, a few people, but why do you care?" I mean, the type of crowd that it seemed to attract in terms of women were ones that were trying to like work for senators,
Sure,
congressmen.
they want to climb the government ladder instead of a corporate ladder.
Yeah, so I just kind of felt like it was all about, can you get me the connections I need when I would go out on these dates half the time.
Mhm.
And they weren't exactly good-looking women either. That was the other thing. Like they were coming from nobody is really from DC. I mean, you have
That's
some
what I was gonna ask. It seems like a transitory town, kinda
oh,
like Vegas,
very,
yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very, very. And so you're getting people from all over, and of course, they don't have connections there because they didn't grow up there, or some went to school there. But everybody is just trying to figure out who you know. And let's be honest, when you're in your mid-20s, like I was, you really don't have all kinds of connections that these women my own age were trying to leverage. So it was really the older guys, in their 40s and 50s who were established. Some of them were probably politicians
Mm.
that would, get these girls, so to speak.
Yeah, no, yeah, I so it's kinda like high school, except instead of are you hanging out with the popular kids, like, are you hanging out with the president or a
Yes.
senator? You're talking like super high status that your average rank and file 20-something boy couldn't possibly compete against.
Yes, exactly.
So
So
would there then be a bifurcation or like kind of a two-tier system in Washington D.C. where there are the transitory people who are coming in or leaving with whatever administration or whoever got elected, and then there's like people who reside in Washington D.C. and I presume they're poor, or
well, a lot
you
of
could.
times they would overlap a bit, is what I'm
Mhm,
saying, because a lot of these women would move to DC from like Ohio or something, or they went to school in DC. They went to American University and they majored in political science, which of course
right.
means you can't get a job. So they're there in DC and they are poor. They don't have a lot of money, but they want to get some kind of, plum position, and that's why they're there. They're there to basically be social climbers, or if that's
Okay.
the right term.
Yeah, no, well, they're not working, that's for certain.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
I'm talking. I'm
they would just
talking.
take like limited jobs, to try to move up.
So then you'd have that class, and depending on how their career went, would determine whether they stay or left. But then, like the people who are actually citizens of Washington D.C., I mean, I got to imagine there is a working class in
Yeah.
D.C. that the garbage collectors, the people actually who work at the restaurants or
Yeah.
something like that. Is that crime infested
DC
welfare
is
recipient type of Baltimore
uh,
version?
DC is also not a safe city. I was just
Right.
about to get to that, especially in the southeast side of the city. And actually, yeah, I was just about to mention someone else in the comments was like, it's full of nonprofit organizations, dude.
Mhm.
So are those, ask yourself the type of women who work for these
Oh,
nonprofit.
just thieves, just thieves. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. No, I understand. And then you got your what the other scum and villainy of society, lobbyists on what K Street or J Street or whatever it is.
Yeah, one of
Oh,
those.
yeah. In other words, what I surmised about DC, which did take I wasn't going on a limb there for this, but the natives of DC are pretty. I mean, I'm sure there's some good working people there, but for the most part, welfare class scum bums.
The
And then there's like your professional politicians and everyone that parasites off it, live off the trough of government, white collar scum. And so there's like really no good people in that town, period.
there are some. Let me at least be
Mm,
fair. The guys I got and gals, the guys and gals I absolutely like the most because I work for both the U.S. Tax Court, overlapping with the IRS, and
mm,
the Department of Justice Criminal Tax Division when I was there. So yeah, you had your, white collar, I'm a US attorney, or I work for the US Attorney's Office. You had, oh, I'm a clerk for Judge so and so. You
mm.
had these people who you wanted to avoid because they were insufferable. But the guys down in facilities, I mean, it was all a bunch of black dudes. The guys down in facilities, the ones working security, they were cool as fuck.
Yeah.
I used to go to happy hour with them,
Oh yeah.
every now and then. Yeah.
Well, I said that there would be a working class like the garbage men
Yes.
at that, and so you
Yes.
get your blue collar like what's his name, Kevin James from King of Queens,
Yeah.
those type of guys.
Yeah.
I knew there'd be that because the city can't function without them. But I'm just for this guy who just moved there, what 9, 10 months ago, whatever, 18 months ago. The point I'm trying to point out is that unless he gets into that blue collar underground, which maybe he does through his job, the people he has to deal with are just going to be the scum of America.
Yeah.
You're really not dealing with sane, happy, mentally grounded people. You're dealing with welfare bums and crime, and then you're dealing with arrogant, power tripping cum stains that just need to be gone away with. So there isn't going to be a group of people like I don't see anyone calling Washington D.C. home unless
Mm-mm.
you're Nancy Pelosi, and even then, these people go back to the respective districts and hang out there. So, but I would say the ground is infertile for stable families and good friendships. Correct?
Correct, correct. It's
Okay.
too
All right.
expensive. It's just let me put it to you this way. You've heard I was there basically throughout my whole 20s, right?
Mhm.
I think I haven't visited there in 11 years, 12 years now, and I know a grand total of 2 people that still live there from my 20s because, you know, people come there for a while and then they leave. And then the ones that stay there, the ones that actually want to stay there, you probably don't want to be friends with them anyway, just because
Right.
they're caught up in that world, you know?
Well, so I mean, we both kind of knew that we would hate Washington D.C. And like you said, it doesn't even have the culture like New York or Chicago would
No.
have.
Mm-mm. And
Yeah.
well, I just like I know we can't publicize this, but if I gotta admit, I'm curious what the guy does because I'm positive that that's a big part of why he's having such a bad experience is directly related to wherever he's working.
His job also does not help.
Yeah.
But I would say with or without his job, he'd be running into this aspect of the town no matter what, and his job
Mhm.
does make it worse.
Mhm.
Which kind of gets me to kind of where I'm going to conclude and make my ruling here. Just the stuff he's telling me that's happened to him. Zero friends since moving there, gained 40 pounds less, and you make less money,
God.
and your mental health has gone to hell. Ruined my physical, mental, and financial relationship with social media strong suits. Uh, dude, leave right now. I absolutely go back and bartend at your hometown. There's no reason to stay. I wish he would have contacted us first before deciding to go to DC, but there is no godly reason to go to Washington DC for anything,
Mm-mm.
especially as a younger man.
Like the reason I'm, you know, happy that I did it is strictly career related because it did give me experience, you know, working directly for the IRS and, you know, for
Mm.
tax agencies. But I mean, beyond that, I felt like it was a total waste. And I made some friends there, but I don't miss it. Even living in Chicago, I never missed DC.
Yeah, I was gonna say living in Chicago. I mean, at least there was culture there, and back when I was there, the girls were friendly and fun. But man, DC, and the answer, it doesn't even matter what Chad and I say. Like the fact you've gained weight and you're miserable. No, dude, go, leave now. Like put in your 2 weeks, hand in your resignation. I'm out of here and go somewhere else. It's not worth it because you're gonna get a heart attack or a stroke or something if you keep going that way. And I presume you would concur. Like there's no reason to,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, 40 pounds. God, something must really be bad there for that to
Oh
happen.
yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's go through your super chats here, which no doubt I'll have to pay you out.
Evan
You wanna
M
go?
for $5 Canadian. DC girls are so out of touch that they'll sport $8,000 worth of artistic tattoos, then whine about how hard they've had it in life. Um, yeah, you know, I didn't really come across a lot of the hipster gals in DC when I was there. I know that they exist, but yeah, there was certainly a lot of whining about everyone's life while living there.
Then you kind of predate the tattoos, though.
I
Wasn't
did. I moved in
yeah.
2008, so I don't think it was ubiquitous yet.
Yeah, no, there. That's it.
Drew for $5. Born and raised in Nova, which is Northern Virginia, and I'm never going back. Get on the metro and you'll see that everyone looks miserable. It's a concrete, superficial jungle. Yes. So the metro is, do you know what the metro is? It's the
It's like their
subway.
subway, yeah.
Yeah. He's right. I used to have to get on that train every goddamn day to commute to work. And it's just people who just look horrified to be there. They're just kind of like, every morning. By the way, I didn't even mention the traffic. Believe it or not, that's where I had a car and drove regularly. It was
Yeah,
my
and it got
first year living in
stolen.
DC. And it got stolen.
Yeah.
So yeah, traffic's bad, crime is bad, parking's bad. I mean, ugh. Drew for
True.
$2. People just live there to work and then they get the fuck out. The smart ones do, at least. The ones that stick around, I don't know how or why they do it. I really don't.
They must be making, I mean, made a deal with the devil. I don't think any of those politicians are happy. I mean, could you imagine having to be Nancy Pelosi?
Mm-mm.
She's 84 years old. She's running again.
I
Like,
didn't
what
realize
the
she
hell
was
is
running
wrong with,
again.
what's that?
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought she was going to retire, but
Yeah. But your ugly troll that you have as a mayor, like it can't possibly be fun for these people. But then again, I guess if I was in the bowels of a political science major and I was an activist and I never knew the idea of work and private sector and independence and not constantly bitching for other people's money. Like, I guess if that's how I grew up, I guess I would tell myself I'm happy because I'm a congressman or a congresswoman or something like that, or I made this election. But I just I don't see why you would want that. Like, oh, good, you got elected. Like, that sounds like a pain in the ass to be the mayor of Chicago. Really does.
Yeah, it's not a position I would want, and because no matter what happens, everybody's gonna hate you. So
Yeah. Bob.
Bob for $2. My mom told me there are a lot of blacks in DC. Well, yeah, there
Yeah,
are.
there's a lot of
Um,
blacks in DC. Yes.
Frankly, they were among the coolest ones I hung out with at, the various jobs I had. But
Mm.
yeah,
I gotta imagine the most pretentious liberal white women gotta be in that town. The
dude.
most Karenest of Karens have got to be there, man.
And can you imagine trying to go out on dates with these women, try to like relate to them in any way, shape, or
No,
form?
no, I can't. I
It's
absolutely cannot.
absolutely atrocious. I think that's why this poor kid is just miserable, or at least part of it.
Yeah, you almost would have to go to DC like you do Dubai. I've been told Dubai is a very transitory place. You just go there to make your money. There is no culture. There is no roots by which you plant into the ground. You just go there, you make your money, you put it on the resume, and you get the hell out. Like it's definitely a
Yeah.
place to like the big four or whatever, the big city. You put your year in, and then you get the hell out. And I think he's done his work.
DJ for $2. Nova has seen an influx of Asians up to 25% now. So I believe DJ is actually pretty familiar with the Northern Virginia, DC area because he's talked about it before.
Has he lived out there?
Yeah.
No.
Neck of the Woods updated for $5. Cappy should do a parentheses. Los Angeles sucks. Don't move their live stream. I can tell you the horror stories of living in that godforsaken place.
I've only driven through it a couple times. It's when your traffic starts halfway to San Diego, that you just know not to go to Los Angeles. You just know. Have you ever been to Los Angeles?
Just working there, like for when I was with the tax court, I worked there, traveled out there a couple times. I do want to. Something just occurred to me about LA. I could see there being some similarities to LA and DC, and that when you get to LA, I think everybody wants to know like who you know, in the industry.
Oh yeah,
Hollywood and all that.
absolutely.
Whereas in DC, it's just who you know in government. So
yeah, I'd imagine it's too. All the young people thinking they're going to become a movie star, and over on the east side, it's a politician. Yeah, it's but yeah, LA is not. But having driven through both, I prefer Washington D.C. over LA. LA has easily the worst traffic in all the United States. Just no reason to go to LA. Absolutely not. And that alone puts it off the map. But then you get to crime and politics and all that. That just triples the reason not to be there. Are you old enough to remember when like Hollywood and everything was all about like come to LA? It's where all the cool action kids are. Yeah, now it's like nope, no way.
It's like a third world country now.
It is. It is.
Sam Whiskey for $4.99. DC belongs to the scalawags and the carpetbaggers.
What's the historical I remember the studying. Wasn't that after the Civil War? The carpetbaggers went south for work or went north?
Yeah, north to
what was
south.
it?
Scallywags. The only reason I know this is because of U.S. history class, and it was around the time of the Civil War, but I can't remember the significance between the Southerners did not like the carpetbaggers that came down for work, but the scalawags, I remember the term.
Were they the ones that went north?
Maybe, yeah. But he's not wrong. He's basically saying DC belongs to people who just come there to like suck up, whatever they can from the government.
Yeah. No, I guess I'd have to look up the history because I remember. Oh yeah, what were the carpetbaggers? But I always were those the ones. Why would you go south? The economy was destroyed. I thought most people would be coming north.
I could have that backwards, but I know it is going from one area to the other area.
Yeah.
Eric Burns Marsh for $5. How do I forgive myself for living in the DMV? I am currently enjoying the Mountain West. Do you know what DMV is? It's Delaware, Virginia, Maryland. The area in there.
How does he forgive himself?
I guess you would move if you're miserable.
I mean, you're punishing yourself living there, so it's not like you did something great and you're getting away with it.
Eric, okay. Eric had a question on my stream one time. I
Yeah,
believe he's leaving the area to go to a much better place, and he had a
good for
question
him.
about how to handle the taxes
Good for
on
him.
that. Yeah,
Look,
so he's
my
getting out.
my my team's got to live somewhere. Okay, my people, all you people listening in, you got to live somewhere. We ain't gonna live with no Marxist leftist crap where adult Democrats poop in the street. We're not getting shot at. We're better than that. That's for Democrats and losers. My people, we deserve to go elsewhere.
Your people.
I don't know. Do you like life? Do you like? Look, would you say you have a right to safety?
I would hope so. I mean, you
Yes.
don't want to. Yeah,
You have a right to safety. Do you have the right to not see people defecate in the streets?
I would think that's not only a
I would
right,
say
it's a
so too.
requirement.
My people don't have very high standards, but what standards we have should be maintained. And so, yeah, you shouldn't feel guilty for leaving areas that are crappy and hate you and probably want to steal from you, and then go live to where maybe people don't like you too much, but they're not going to steal from you, or less people are.
DMV is DC, Virginia, Maryland. I don't know where
Okay.
Delaware popped in there.
Yes.
DJ for $2. Culture of massive McMansions out in the exurbs. He's right. Fairfax County, Virginia, and Loudoun County, Virginia, are the two counties, right outside of DC.
Mm-hmm.
You should check the average property values and property taxes in those places.
All right,
It's-
or maybe not. Maybe I just don't go there.
Just don't go there.
Just
And
don't go there.
I spent middle. I was raised overseas, but my
Mhm.
dad had to come back in between missions for 3 years, so I had to spend middle school in Fairfax County, Virginia.
Was it hoity-toity back then?
Yes,
It
I mean
was.
not nearly like it is now. Mark Dayton, yeah, Jacob Fry is.
Yeah,
from,
Jacob Fry. Yeah.
He's from. We went to the same. When
Oh,
I was
no
in sixth
wonder he's
grade-
such a pretentious
Yeah,
asshole.
we were in the
Oh,
same
yeah.
elementary school. I was in 6th grade. He was in 4th grade. That was
Did you
him.
know?
Yeah.
Do you know they still voted him in? He got reelected.
He got reelected?
Yeah. So
Jeez.
did the same Minneapolis City Council people. They got all reelected.
I remember those BLM activists, shaming him and him just hanging his head and like walking off, and he got reelected.
Anything to avoid a real job. Anything to avoid a real job. They'll suffer anything to avoid a real job.
Drew for $2. I don't miss I-66, 495 and 395. Yeah, 66 runs from DC and west into Virginia. 495 is the Beltway. Dude, you want bad traffic, like maybe the worst in the entire galaxy is 495, the Beltway during rush hour.
I'm not gonna go there. Not gonna go there. Some traffic on Highway 79 occasionally. There's a stop sign in Hermosa I got to stop at, but that's about it.
Hermosa. Drew for $2. My friend still lives in Fairfax and is miserable, and that's where I went to middle school. Is Fairfax.
Isn't ironic all that money and these people are miserable?
Well, they're all very similar to each other.
Okay, here's a Florida Henry. He's got some history for us.
Yeah, so they were the ones that supported the North. I figured it was something like that.
Yeah, I knew it was something. Yeah. Okay, so now we know.
Drew for $2. My uncle calls the metro the train to Auschwitz. So I'm very familiar with public transportation. The metro sucks so much. And now the Chicago L is dangerous, whatever. But I mean, the DC Metro cannot hold a candle to the L in terms of where it goes and how it gets you around. So even the public transport really sucks.
It's not even that efficient.
I don't think it's that great, and it's way more expensive than the average public transport because it's spanning.
How is that possible? It's a
states.
Democrat town. How is that possible?
I don't miss it. Not even the
Democrats are
silver
so
line
good.
that goes to Dulles Airport. I don't care.
They
miss
don't
it.
even have a line that goes to the airport.
They do now. They didn't
do
when I
now.
lived there, but they just got one that goes to Dulles Airport.
Oh, okay.
DJ for $5. Don't you hate all these super chats, Clary?
Now that I got to share them with you. Yes, yes, I do. Yeah.
Nova culturally, excuse me. Nova culturally is way different from how it used to be in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Hence some of the street and school names. He's right because they would have highways. I'm sure they've been changed now, but there was Jefferson Davis Highway, Dolly Madison Parkway. Like they had, Confederate names.
people's names up there. All
Those
right.
have got to be gone by now.
I'd imagine
guessing.
so, right?
G Higby for $4.99. The people in DC are super delusional about how great the city is, but it really sucks ass. Everything there is imaginary. Ethiopian girls are cute. Um, there's this Ethiopian restaurant in Adams Morgan, which is a part of DC. It's where a lot of young people hang out. For a couple of months, I used to go to happy hour there because, yeah, the Ethiopians were the most down to earth, like chill people, in the center of this insane asylum. So he's not wrong.
Yeah, there's occasionally they can pull it off. They're more Arabic if they looked at.
Mhm,
They're thin,
mhm,
obviously Ethiopia, Somali girls, same kind. That eastern horn of Africa. You
mhm.
can they're not common, but they are like, oh, you'll turn your head again. But generally, no, I'm not that into Ethiopian girls.
Ray John,
Ray
good to see
John.
you. $2 Canadian. DHS report says the right is more violent.
Okay, good. What Department of the
Department of
Department of
Homeland
Health,
Security.
Homeland Security? Okay, good for them.
Yeah. Eric Burns Marsh for $5. Because of lack of maintenance, they've had to slow the trains down. They were already pretty slow. My half-hour commute turned into 1 hour before COVID-19. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it is so soul-crushing to take the metro into DC to work. Oh my God. Oh,
I I don't know. It it just seems to me it's just another big leftist crap hole. It just happens to be this nation's capital. But otherwise, the city of Washington, D.C., I remember it was Mayor Barry, Marion Barry, or
Marion
whatever.
Barry, bitch set him up.
Yeah, and like he got busted for crack possession and dealing
Yes.
drugs. It's like, okay, you're just another leftist crap hole. You're just a bunch of criminals running around saying you need other people's money. And all I look is I see poor people. I'm like, all right, again, here's another grain of sand on the already weighted down scale of balance of Democrat policies make people poor. But I I don't know. It's I was about as prone to move to DC as I was prone to move to New York or San
Hmm.
Francisco. So
Drew for $2. All of Nova is moving to Colorado and are much happier. I'm sure the ones that are able to get out are able to get out.
why are they going to Colorado? That seems quite far away.
Yeah, that's a little bit random. I bet Drew probably lives in Colorado and has met a lot of people that have come from DC.
Yeah. Well, people are moving out of the cities. I was just whether you're a Democrat or Republican, seeing people, steal your catalytic converters, crime, pooping in the streets. I mean, you Democrats brought it on yourselves. That's what happens when you don't raise adults and you raise adult children. But I don't, I don't
You've
care.
been to DC, right?
I went there and I missed Roosh by like 15 minutes or an hour, but I had a meet up there. I hung out with Major Miller, and that's where I met Dennis from Masculine Geeks. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, there was a lot of people. I'll admit, because it's a political town, there were a lot of people that kind of read my blog and all that. So I think it was an election time too, so they were watching the election results. But
DJ,
it was a cool meetup that we had.
DJ for $5. Nova was the normal suburb where the Republican base moved in the 80s. The older people who have lived in Fairfax in the 80s still vote majority Republican. See, he's right. Also Alexandria, which is just south of DC, it's in Virginia, like
Mhm.
south of Arlington. Those used to be pretty conservative places, and
Right.
they did have Republicans, a lot of Republican
Well,
politicians.
now that they raised their daughters, that they're special cupcakes and anything good for Daddy's little princess. Now that's done, right? Correct?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
yeah. I would when I left DC right before Obama came into power. So in a way, I feel like as bad as it was, I missed kind of the worst of it.
I don't know. Would you have missed the worst of it? I thought you would have. A lot of people would have been celebratory and happier. Like
Oh
like
no,
I know it would be akin to like you were let's say you were a Chicago Bears fan, but they were playing against the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions beat the Bears for the Super Bowl. If you were in Detroit, you'd probably have a good time because people would be in a better mood.
yeah, I didn't mean it more in the people's moods. I meant
Mm,
more like the how things basically became more and more blue. I mean,
right.
DC was already kind of blue, but I just feel like after Obama came into power, it just big old bob of blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Florida Henry for $10. I was stationed in Arlington, Virginia before 9/11. Everyone was a government worker that hated the US. Traffic was awful. Yeah, I worked with a lot of people who, despite working for the United States federal government, sure hated the US.
Well, they could leave.
Yeah.
But see, that's why I'm saying they're all miserable.
Yeah. I mean, this kid, what I don't get is like, I'll just ask you after this what he does anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. DJ for $2.
By the way, I appreciate everyone donating super chats now. They're real sparse and non-existent when I was sick happy. Wholesome DJ would loyally donate his $2, and we'd have a couple of the. And now everybody waits for Chad to shake his ass on the stripper pole here.
Well,
now people loosen their wallets. Now that I got to split it, yeah.
I think there's two reasons for this. One, I haven't been anywhere near YouTube in almost 2 weeks, because I wasn't doing it. And two, we're both pretty miserable with our health, and I think people like to see us struggling. So.
I've been miserable for the past week, for God's sake. There's some very pain videos I've done it. Just taking their tweezers out to pull that dollar.
You'll get your revenge on me. By the way, guys, I'm doing a stream Wednesday evening, and Clary's going to come on. So you can get back at me by donating more that I have to split with him. Marion Barry almost lost in 94, won by 1 point. I can't remember. He got set up by somebody. It was a sting operation, but I can't remember what year that was.
My point is, didn't your mayor get reelected too?
Yeah, well, not yet, but
okay.
We'll see.
Look, the people are stupid. Ocasio-Cortez got reelected because her constituents are a bunch of dumb parasites. That's really what it is. I mean, so yeah, it doesn't surprise me Marion Barry won the re-election because what's his name, the idiot in Minneapolis, because the people in these areas are idiots.
That guy's pathetic. God.
Like you could literally have sex with a horse in a public park and have it filmed and broadcasted on YouTube. If you promise your constituents free of other people's money and free stuff, they'll re-elect you. If you're dead, they will.
Ralph Raphael for $4.99. What cities would you guys recommend besides DC for a young guy starting a career?
Link below is the book To Reconnaissance Man that I'd go and read and execute on, because that'll save you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of moving and realtor costs when it comes to buying and selling houses. But I don't know. I'm kind of curious. What are your favorite towns in the U.S.?
Well, right now, where I like to visit quite a bit. I mean,
Dallas, Fort Worth,
Fort Worth area. Not so much Dallas, but Fort Worth is pretty good. Other than that, I was just in Santa Fe visiting my parents. I can't recommend that.
I'm not a fan of Santa Fe. I really enjoy Dallas, Fort Worth area. I prefer Dallas over Fort Worth, though, actually.
You do?
Yeah, I do. The downtowns, respectively, even though Dallas is more busy, but even the burbs. I like Fort Worth. It's a little slower pace than maybe if I'm gonna live in a big town, I'd like to have big town things. I like San Antonio. I love pretty much any town on an ocean or a gulf in Florida. My favorite being St. Petersburg, but Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers, Bradenton, Clearwater. They're nice. I like Florida. If I had to move to a major metro, Chicago would be that for a year, no more. And then obviously I personally like Rapid City, but I'm starting to realize why people don't visit me.
Yeah, man, I guess I can be the one to tell you this. The thing about Rapid City, and I'll come back, maybe.
Yeah, I know you will, yeah.
It's a little bit tough to get there, first of all. And yes, it does get flights that go there, but they do hike up the fares on those.
It is very expensive to fly here. I admit that. But I would say if you're young and poor, like you're not making a lot of money, you don't mind paying the taxes, I'd look at Denver or Colorado Springs. I also like the Phoenix area very much. And of course, I always love Vegas. I think Vegas is great. Smaller towns, I think St. George, Utah is pretty good. Grand Junction, Colorado, Durango and Cortez, Colorado.
Not Fort Collins, right? Because Great One doesn't.
No, not Fort Collins. That is just such a. That's where the white people of Colorado go to hate themselves. That's where if you want to go where white people hate themselves in Colorado, go to Fort Collins. But then what else? I like Knoxville, Tennessee. I like Raleigh, North Carolina.
North Carolina is good.
I like Asheville, North Carolina. I think that's Wallace, Idaho was nice.
Well, he's saying starting a career.
Starting a career. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
your bigger town. Yeah, you're, like I said, Phoenix, Vegas.
Vegas,
Texas
I think,
towns.
would be a good one.
Vegas is a great town. Great town for a young person to start out as. Yep. And I found out they're not going to run out of water because they recycle all their water and use very little compared to. Guess who uses most of water, Chad, coming out of that valley?
The Californians.
Californians. Man, I'd love just to have them all go away. Just like, oh my God, where did the 30, 40 million people go? They're gone. Oh no. Do we got any more? Oh, we do. Look at that. God almighty, Chad. What's it like being a chick with big tits?
Holy
cow.
Got to get my super bra. Parker Franklin. Parker, what's up, dude? $2. More money for Chad.
Yeah, right there, Parker. Right there.
Parker, drop me an update. Well, actually, he did recently. He's the EA candidate. Mike for $5.
Oh yeah, you had him on his show, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember Parker. Yeah, military, better than us. Gonna be way ahead. And yeah, okay, all right.
Actually, real quick before I read this, Clary, I did a quick Zoom with another EA candidate last night. Parker, if you're still in the chat, let me know if you're open to people emailing you, because the guy did want to talk to you. I said I better check with you first. Mike for $5. Voice from Count Von Count, Vampire Muppet from Sesame Street. There is Dulce YouTube influencers. Ah ha 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 ha. Split the cash. Thanks, Mike. Drew for $2. Southeast is safer to the building of the MLB stadium. Yeah, so the Washington Nationals, you've heard of them. They're the baseball team that moved from Montreal to DC in 2005.
Oh, what were they in Montreal?
They were the Expos. Remember the Montreal
Expos? The Expos are no longer?
No, they're now the DC team. Washington Nationals.
Did Montreal get a new team?
No.
Really? They lost their baseball team?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Which is too bad. They had these cool uniforms and logos. But so they moved to DC in 2005 when I was there, and they built the stadium 3 years after that in Southeast DC in Navy Yard. So he's right. I think that part of Southeast is getting better, but I still hear there's some problems, out there.
Oh, well.
Crime.
It's affecting Democrat people. I don't care.
DJ for $2. He can always work on a naval shipyard in Norfolk. Norfolk, Virginia.
I think, hang on.
Is that it?
I think so. Let me scroll. Am I cutting in and out?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, here we go.
DJ for $2. Asheville, North Carolina is uber progressive in every way.
Right. I still like it. It's you come out of the Smoky Mountains from Tennessee and down into the hills, the foothills, and Asheville, North Carolina is there. And it's a nice little town. And yeah, I'm sure all the hippies are moving in there. But I enjoyed it. Of course, this was like 7-8 years ago, but
good hiking.
Yeah. If you're willing to go west a little bit.
80s New Wave Geek. That's a cool name. $2. Illinois, Chicago is about to go to hell with the Safety Act.
Yeah, what is that? Is that like you can't be arrested or no, you can't have
no cash bail.
No cash bail. All right.
For things like trespassing, simple theft. So what's to stop people from going crazy in 2023?
No, I hope what happened to downtown San Francisco hopes to Chicago because San Francisco, I think if it's under $900, the cops won't arrest the person stealing it. So now there are no businesses open in downtown San Francisco. It literally is a place for homeless people to take a dump. It's great. It's great.
Eric Burns Marsh for $5. Since California doesn't believe in clearing out dead vegetation, they're only a good forest fire away from going away. Well,
yeah, but they always get those fires under control. I don't care. I really don't. Hey, you've noticed I don't care.
Yeah, I don't
don't
really
care.
care. I
I don't
mean,
really care. Traffic is bad. Hang on. You want to feel good?
sure.
Let's take a look at traffic in Washington, D.C. Oh, wow. Look at that. That is a mess. That is an absolute mess. Let me take a
Well,
look.
it's 3:30. Yep, rush hour starts at about 2 o'clock in DC.
Let me take a look at Los Angeles. Oh, well, Los Angeles isn't that bad. Maybe they're not doing that bad. Take a look at San Francisco. San Francisco looks like it's got great traffic today. That is rare. What the hell? Oh, no one's working. I guess that's
There you go.
Let's take a look at traffic in Chicago. Not bad. Kind of average, but given another 2 hours, we'll see what happens. Northbound interstate is southbound interstate is jam packed.
Give it an hour.
Yeah, we'll give it an hour. All right. Anything else? I think we got them all. Cool. All right. That's it. Well, thanks for answering that.
Got it.
Yeah. We'll be on Chad's show Wednesday, correct? Not tomorrow?
Yeah, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central. I put the thing on YouTube earlier today, so it's there.
And hang on, remind me, I charged him 50, so I owe you 25 plus half the super chats. All right, so can you remind me in a day or two? We'll get that, and then that'll be good. And then 6 p.m. Central Wednesday.
6 p.m. Central Wednesday. 10-second preview. Like the IRS is saying that people are going to have smaller refunds this coming tax season, so I thought I'd go into that a little bit.
Okay, cool. Why is it? Did the tax code change, or is it that they don't get any special gimme dats with the COVID?
A little bit of both. There were some changes. There were some things they took away. Tax brackets are shifting now, a little bit because of inflation. And but I'll throw this out there. Maybe that's not such a bad thing that refunds are lower, and I will elaborate during.
Oh, okay.
Stream.
No, I can't wait to tune in. All right, take us out appropriately.
Toodles.
Toodles.